Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Jeremy, am I doing this right?
Personally, I like good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, but I'll leave it up to you, man. It's all yours.
All right, it's on me. Make it my own. Got it. So,
How'd you get a picture of my home office? Is that a beard you're growing?
no on the virtual background?
No on the virtual background. Hey, thank you, Jeremy, for playing along. And for the record, I am not growing a beard. Not that I even can, but certainly the real goal here is to match the heart and the spirit and dedication that Jeremy has shown over Up to Speed over the years. So congrats again to Jeremy on a well-deserved promotion. And as Jeremy mentioned on Monday, you will still be seeing him right here from time to time. With that, the official good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, and welcome to Up to Speed. So let's think of this live episode of Up to Speed as a little extra credit for you and your remote learning students at home. So if they are sitting nearby, have them join us if they're free as we learn more about how our company continues to show up for our students, our parents, our teachers during such a crucial time in our lives and in our world today. You know, last week we showcased all the ways Verizon is stepping up in our School is Back Up to Speed segment. We asked all of you to show us how you and your families are getting ready. We got some great pictures in the good mailbox, so let's show some of those images right now. So from great throwback class pictures, thank you so much, to siblings excited about starting a new chapter. We heard from so many of you just talking about how some of your students are learning from home, learning hybrid. Some of your college students are on campus. You know, the range of challenges, of course, vary, but the sentiment is a universal one. We are dedicated to our young people's education. And the faces you see here, these faces are really the why behind all the what that we do. And this is what this episode live is what it's all about, the why behind the what. You heard last week what we're doing. Today, we're going to have a conversation live about the why. And with that, we are going to have some fantastic guests for you right now. We have our Chief Corporate Social Responsibility Officer, Rose Kirk, joining us. We have our Chief Media Officer, John Nitti. We have Andrés Irlando, who leads our public sector and Verizon Connect teams for Verizon Business. And you're going to see how all of the actions that we have as a company really are kind of headed towards one goal, and that's making sure that our students across the country are connected and they're ready to learn as we begin this new school year. So with that, let's bring in Rose Kirk. Rose, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk first about the fantastic March on Washington, and I just want to talk about just the success that we've seen. First of all, congratulations, a tremendous achievement. 24,000 VTeamers laced up for Bold's March on Washington. This is our most participated viewer event to date. How do you feel knowing thousands participated in this event worldwide?
Yeah, so first of all, hi, Andy. How are you? Listen, I have to thank the team that put it together. And it wasn't just my team. It was an integrated group of people who came together with a vision and a desire and, frankly, a belief that Verizon is a company that is committed to actually engaging with these issues, understanding these issues, being a part of the solution. So 24,000 employees who laced up their boots, their walking shoes, their running shoes all around the world. And it was so exciting to see folks from Hong Kong and just different parts of the world engaging and caring. And I think it's important for us to remember that this isn't just a moment. This is really a movement. This is a place where there's a generation of employees and individuals who really want to drive change in this country and around the world. And we have an obligation to continue to educate them, but also give them spaces where they can do that. Because a part of the march and the walking was to understand and to learn about history, systematic racism issues, what we can do to move things forward. And then I think the fact that we saw over 700,000 people who have engaged with the content from Dr. Clarence Jones, who helped, write Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, who marched with him. People are curious and interested, and they want to honor the past, but be a part of changing the future. So I think it's just remarkable, and I think it speaks to the spirit of Verizon employees and the commitment that we have to being on the front line of driving change and making this society a better place for everyone.
Yeah, and that commitment for change and for our young people, it extends, of course, to the educational platform. And with that in mind, Rose, why is it so important for Verizon to play this integral role for educators and students? And, this is an unprecedented school year. What are you hoping to see this year?
Yeah, I was looking at some information that says that essentially we will have around the globe, when all is said and done with this pandemic, close to 1 billion kids who will actually have an economic issue in their future because they're not getting the education that they need today. And that's concerning because that means that we have to think about this as a long game. And what are we going to do to make sure that we are enabling a quality education and allowing particularly vulnerable populations to catch up? And so our commitment to this has been ongoing. I mean, we didn't just get into the game of caring about education and equalizing the playing field with COVID. We've been doing this for about 7 or 8 years. And we are essential. Our network, our connection, our devices, our applications, the core of who we are is so essential to the education of, our youth. And so I am so excited about what Verizon has been doing. And in this school year in particular, as we go back in the fall, we have a lot of learning from what we were able to do from March on, understanding that we have to enable connectivity in every way possible. We have to enable it in a way that's affordable for individuals. We have to care about the application of that technology because it's not just enough to make sure you have a device, that you have, connectivity, but how do you apply it to the learning arena? And that means that we have to put the right apps in the hands of teachers and parents, and we're doing that across the board. We have to make sure that we're training teachers on how to apply it, and we do that, with Verizon Innovative Learning and other initiatives. So it really is about making sure that we are a true partner in the education arena and not just coming in over the top, but we're there with an understanding of the pedagogy, what's being taught, what are the courses that are critical, that we're paying attention to the fact that students are struggling in math and science because it's a very difficult subject to teach online. So how do we make sure that there are the right applications that are available to enable that? And, Andy, one of the things that my team is doing is looking at actually building one of the best-in-class online technology platforms that complements what we are doing with Verizon Innovative Learning, because we're finding that more and more schools and teachers and parents want to understand how do they leverage that technology in the learning? How do they, leverage it from a remote perspective? And I think we're finding that that's going to be even more critical going forward. And then we haven't given up on putting 5G labs in schools because even though some schools are not in session physically and some are, teachers are still asking for the technology that can help their kids catch up, that can help enable, the path forward. So I think if I were to sum it up, it's understanding this category of education and understanding it richly and deeply, making sure that teachers and parents have all the resources that they need beyond connectivity, that they also understand the application and have apps, and then making sure that we're delivering content that can be useful and can help with the teaching and the learning. Because when you flip that classroom to being more online, more virtual, content is really important. And so we're leveraging the partnerships that we have across Verizon to actually make that so.
Yeah, and when we think about content, we think about some of our great partnerships that we've had. With that, let's bring in John Nitti, our Chief Media Officer. And when we talk about content, you think about the New York Times and the collaboration we've had. It's been a successful launch and a partnership with them. So, John, congratulations to that. I know that there's an extension now with the access to New York Times. This goes to all high schoolers and high school students and teachers in the U.S. for free. John, how has that partnership evolved, and what's new this year?
Yeah, no, thanks, Andy, and hi, everybody. And to build on Rose's point, right, I think our role is to enable students and teachers, right? And so the New York Times partnership is a great part of that. Back in 2019, we first started with Title I schools and providing them access to that New York Times content and articles for the teachers to help with that curriculum. And then in April, when, obviously we're all tasked with homeschooling and virtual learning, we added high school students and teachers to that, to your point, and now we've just decided to extend that through September of 21. right? Knowing that this is something that we're, whether it be hybrid or whether it be something that's more permanent, it's going to be a tool and an access point that will help with the education of those students and give teachers another tool to leverage in those e-learning environments. And so it's a great, I think, partnership and example of how we can leverage a partner that would have been in one space from a media and marketing standpoint, but bring them in and integrate them into more and more of what we're doing overall. And that's how we're looking at a lot of our partners in this time.
And it's a reflection of that learning arena that we're trying to build that foundation around, whether it's in the classroom or at home. And one thing that I wanted to make sure that we talked about, we mentioned that we would hear from Andrés Irlando from public sector, Verizon Business. If you think back to where this all started, in March, 124,000 schools closed, 55 million students in need of distance learning solutions across the country. Well, our public sector team stepped up. They launched Verizon Distance Learning, the Verizon Distance Learning program. It started in March. Of course, it identified a need in the LA Unified School District. That's the second largest district in the country. And that partnership continued with districts in California. But it didn't just stop there. And we're going to take a moment now to hear from Andrés about that extension as more and more states turn to us to make sure that their students were connected and educated. Let's roll that video from Andrés.
And from there, we started to see a need all across the country. So we entered into sponsor state agreements with state of Georgia, state of Massachusetts, state of Texas, modeled after the LAUSD agreement, where each of those states allowed a bunch of other states and school districts within those states to buy off of their contract. And we also did a bunch of standalone agreements. So state of South Carolina, Oklahoma comes to mind. There was a bunch of others that we didn't announce publicly, but that are in place. And at the end of the day, our program is the fastest, easiest way for schools and school districts to get connected and to stay online. We're up to 38 states plus the District of Columbia. Some 36 million students now have access to our program through the distance learning program. And look, we're just getting started. Every day, every week, every month, we're adding more school districts, more students to the program. Our goal here is to ensure that as long as this pandemic is going on, that any student anywhere in the country that needs access to affordable and reliable remote learning can get it and can continue to engage in their educational studies while they're at home or they're in some hybrid situation that impacts their education.
I mean, truly some impressive numbers from Andrés and his team. And Andrés wanted to make sure that we shout out our public sector team, our Verizon Connect team, our VBG team, for making sure that the states are fulfilled with their need to make sure that all students are connected. John, bringing this conversation back to us live here, when you think about just the sheer numbers and the sheer number of partnerships, even just within public sector teams, you're seeing how our partners are responding and reacting to the continued impact of this pandemic. What has changed in the media landscape? What do you think is going to have long-term impacts in the way we do business?
A lot has changed, right? And I often talk about sort of the silver lining of acceleration of certain aspects that this pandemic has put us into, right? The aspect of live and live sports or live entertainment. That's changed, right? And week to week, that'll continue to change based upon geography and other elements that impact what we can do there. And so how we look at these partners and how we show up to these partners, much like I mentioned with the New York Times, is also a good change and evolution. We show up as a technology partner, not just a media or marketing partner. We show up as a partner that can have, enhance that fan experience and bring virtual aspects to it, whether that be through VMG or whether that be through a consumer group. We show up as a business partner of how you can actually safely bring people back into venues and stadiums. And so the conversations with the NBA, the NFL, any of these partners is very, very different now and much more holistic and integrated, which has been a great byproduct of it. And it's going to be, ultimately will change how consumers, interact with that content. To your point, also changes the media marketplace, right? As far as where are the available impressions, where are eyeballs, that continues to change and evolve if, live events don't happen. You may have watched the VMAs this past weekend, very different experience than what it's been in the past. And that's the first example of a live event and even how they do that production. you go back to how we did Pay It Forward Live, right? Virtual across multiple platforms, how you guys are engaging, with us today across multiple platforms and endpoints. I mean, those are all things that will last, to your point, that we need to change and evolve of how we speak to our customer base, how we reach out to prospects, but also how we help enable partners and show the power of what our technology and 5G is in enabling that overall.
And by the way, folks, this is how locked in Mr. Nitti is to our partnerships. He's sitting in his child's gaming chair, and so this is truly, well, it's not a game, but it's truly a game in the arena of learning. So, John, thank you very much. As we wrap things up here, Rose, I want to, and John, you can certainly jump in as well, of course, but as a mother, when we think about our kids, when we think about those pictures we saw at the top of this broadcast, what kind of advice do you have for our VTeam parents who now feel like they're heading back to school with their kids?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that, but I want to go back for just a second and weigh in a little bit on the partnership, right? What I heard John say and what I heard Andreas say. I think what's important as we think about this education space is we're all learning this new virtual world. Our partners are beginning to change their business models. Our obligation as a company is to take a lot of that learning into the education space for these teachers, for these students, for these parents, because education often, as we know, is underfunded, often lasts to innovation. And so I really appreciate all that Andreas and his team is doing, all that John and his team is doing, because it's giving us an opportunity as a company to think about our partnership, our resources, and what can they mean in education, and how can we help them redefine the education space. And so I think more and more folks are rallying around this issue of digital divide and thinking about unique and different partnerships to address it in education. And that's a leadership moment for Verizon. Now, having said all of that, I'll answer your question. I think as a mother, as a parent, I would give two sets of advice to the V-teamers. First of all, give yourself some grace. Because no matter what you do, you're probably going to feel bad about it. I was talking to one of the directors on my team about this just a couple of hours ago. If you're sending your kids to school, you're nervous and concerned about it. If you're keeping them home, you're nervous and concerned about their socialization, right? So no matter what direction you go in, you probably are going to feel like you're not doing the right thing. So you've got to give yourself some grace. I think the other thing that I would say is ask your company for what you need. So as you work with your bosses, your supervisors, your peers, be very open in sharing what you're going through, because we have folks whose kids went off to college and suddenly they got to drop everything and go get them. We have individuals whose school district has changed their, return to school 2 or 3 times, and parents are trying to flex across that. So I think within Verizon, we've got to always have finger to the pulse of understanding what our teammates need and making sure that we are flexible in giving them that so that they can thrive. So that would be my advice as a parent and as a V-teamer.
Great advice, Rose. Thank you. We'll extend that question to John as well as a dad. Any thoughts for our V-teamers?
Yeah, no, I think to build on what Rose said, and even to tie, Andy, how you open this, as a parent, you're all in this together, and it's all unknown, right? And so, to have that flexibility and go into it. If you think about, my team is all focused on contingency plans for everything that we're doing because there's so many unknowns. Same thing with school for my boys. They're supposed to go in every Thursday, Friday, and every other Wednesday. I'm going to that knowing that that's very much may well change, right? And so you need to adjust. And to Rose's point, I have huge trepidation. Is that the right decision to not keep them home and to expose them to that environment? And all you can do is educate yourself. I mean, we're fortunate enough that we work at a company that is technology driven. We've been in this virtual environment, so you can provide counsel and have a level of understanding there. But we all need to know that there's going to be contingencies and changes to what that experience is. And communication is going to be key, right, to Rose's point. And being open with that communication, this way you as a parent can best do what you need to do for your family and for your children, and then also, for the company at that same time.
We are certainly all in this together. And as we wrap up, I do want to make sure that we all take a look at this 30-second spot, and then we'll come back to you, John and Rose, for some final thoughts here. But as we think about our children and we watch this spot, I guess the ask is really think about where is your child in this ad? Where is your family in this ad? Let's think about what we're doing, not only for our own families, but for kids across the country. Let's play that clip.
With everything going on right now, we've had to alter our classroom settings.
School is back, and Verizon is here to help. We're supporting millions of students by getting them online with discounted connectivity so they aren't left behind. We're providing free training and learning resources to teachers to enhance remote learning. And with the New York Times, we're providing teaching tools for a rapidly changing world.
We're lucky that Verizon supports teachers like us.
The network more people rely on believes every student should get the education they deserve.
Fantastic ad, really sums up what we talked about at the top of the hour, as well as as we went through the Up to Speed episode today. So, John, final thoughts watching that ad. Obviously, a lot of pride, but just some thoughts and impressions.
And I think it pays off what we've been doing in marketing, right? The Real Reasons campaign and showing real customers has been what we've been doing for the past year plus, right? And that's something that everybody's facing right now as everybody goes back to school. And I think it does a great job in showing how we have a part in that, right? How we bring people together and how we can enable those parents and those customers as they face that together.
Thank you, John. Rose, the final word after watching that ad, feeling that pride and talking about what we talked about. Your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, I think it's several things. I think, first of all, it demonstrates that we are a true partner to the education sector. Again, it's the work that the business units is doing, under Andreas' team. It's the work that my team has been doing forever. It's really demonstrating that we have finger to the pulse in this segment. We know what the issues are. We have the network strength, and we have the resources to bring solutions in to help teachers be successful, help parents be successful, and frankly, meet the needs of these kids, which is where my heart always goes to, is the vulnerable population that needs it most. And I think the ad does a good job of showing that we are the partner who is there. But I think even beyond that, Andy, I think a lot about it as a part of just our whole Citizens Verizon strategy, right? That we are focused on driving economic, environmental, and social advancement. And you should lean into that issue of advancement, that we know that even with the pandemic, we still have an obligation to help people advance. And if you don't get it right for these kids now, they won't be able to have a future of economic independence in the future. And so it's important that we lean in and that we're in it for the long haul, and that we recognize our power for the long haul. So my pride comes from knowing we are a true partner, knowing we're in it for the long haul, and knowing that we know exactly what problems we need to be solving that can help move the world forward. So.
Absolutely. That's the goal. And I think I heard Andreas say in his remarks that we're just getting started. This is the beginning of the school year. We will, of course, keep the drumbeat going. Our thanks to Rose and John for their wisdom and, of course, their teams as well. Congratulations for all the work that they've done. Our thanks to Andrés Irlando and the public sector Verizon Connect VBG team. And, of course, our thanks to all of our families, our VTeamers out there who are doing what they can to not only move the world forward for our customers, but for their little ones as well. So with that, I'm going to switch back to my virtual Jeremy background. I don't know if this even works, but this is nice. Very cool.
It works.
Virtual. We all want to be a virtual Jeremy. So
tell you what, if you want it, email me. I'll send you the picture out with Jeremy's permission, of course. But thank you both, Rose, John. Thank you to Andreas, and of course, thank you all for watching. Till next time, you're up to speed.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Bye.